All right, so we're diving into cybersecurity today, specifically password rotation in 2024. You sent over a ton of interesting stuff, articles, expert opinions, even a glimpse into some like really high-tech password management systems. Some sources say password rotation is totally outdated,
Yeah.
while others claim it's still like super crucial.
Right.
So let's try to figure out what's most important for you listening.
Yeah, I think you've hit on a really timely topic. Cybersecurity is always changing, so understanding current best practices is key.
Right.
And this deep dive will help you make informed decisions about your own digital security.
Perfect. So to pick things off, why did password rotation become like a thing in the first place?
Well, back in the early days of computer security, the main concern was someone stealing your password, either by hacking or literally like looking over your shoulder.
Right.
And so frequently changing your password would limit the damage they could do.
Right. Kind of like changing the locks on your house after you lose a key.
Exactly.
You're minimizing your vulnerability.
Exactly. And that logic led to the, change your password every 30 days policies we've all encountered.
And probably grumbled about quite a bit. But your sources do point out some benefits.
Oh, definitely. For one, it reduces the time a compromised password is usable. It also helps mitigate risks from old passwords that might have been exposed in data breaches, we weren't even aware of.
Right, and we can't forget compliance. Many industries require password rotation for legal reasons. Even the act of changing a password reminds us to be more security conscious.
Agreed. It forces you to think about digital hygiene, at least for a few minutes.
Yeah.
However, some sources seriously question the effectiveness of password rotation in today's threat landscape.
You mean how it can make us less secure?
Right.
That seems a little counterintuitive.
Think about it. When you're forced to change passwords often, we tend to fall back on predictable patterns.
Right.
Just changing a number or a letter, making it easy to guess.
Yeah.
Or we end up reusing the same password across multiple accounts, kind of defeating the purpose of rotation in the first place.
It's like that old saying, closing the barn door after the horse is bolted.
Precisely. Plus, think of the burden on IT departments.
Oh, yeah.
Managing all those password changes is a real headache.
Right.
The sources suggest focusing on more dynamic and user-friendly strategies instead.
User-friendly cybersecurity, I'm all ears.
So the main idea is that, passwords alone aren't enough anymore. We need to explore other technologies like multi-factor authentication.
Okay.
Or MFA. This adds another layer of verification beyond just your password, like a one-time code or fingerprint scan, or even, facial recognition.
So it's like that extra security check you get when you're logging into your bank account from a new device.
Exactly. And then there are password managers, which generate and store complex passwords for you, so you don't have to remember them all.
Right.
Some popular options from the sources include LastPass, Dashlane, and 1Password.
Yeah, those names definitely sound familiar, but aren't some people hesitant to trust a third party with all their passwords?
Yeah, I understand that concern, but reputable password managers use strong encryption to protect your data.
Okay.
They often have additional security features like two-factor authentication,
Right.
making them arguably more secure than trying to manage everything yourself.
That's reassuring. What other cool technologies are out there?
How about behavioral biometrics?
Okay.
This analyzes your typical online behavior, like typing speed or mouse movements, and websites you visit to create a unique profile. If someone tries logging in and their behavior doesn't match your usual patterns, the system flags it as suspicious.
It's like a digital fingerprint of how you interact with your devices.
Right.
Kind of like an invisible online bodyguard.
Exactly.
So tell me more about this passwordless authentication concept.
So this is kind of the holy grail of cybersecurity, eliminating passwords altogether.
Right.
Imagine using biometrics like fingerprints or face scans or even hardware tokens to log in.
That does sound amazing, like something out of a spy movie.
It's already being implemented in some areas, like smartphones and laptops.
Right.
The idea is to eventually extend this to all online accounts.
Wow, that's definitely a game changer. So what is adaptive authentication?
So this approach tailors the security level to each login attempt based on factors like your location, device, time of day,
Okay.
and even your past login history.
Wow.
It's about striking a balance between security and convenience.
That makes a lot of sense. You mentioned one source dives into a real world password management system called Delinea Secret Server. What's that all about?
Think of Delinea Secret Server as Fort Knox for your passwords.
Okay.
It's a centralized encrypted vault for storing all your passwords and other sensitive credentials. No more sticky notes or trying to remember dozens of passwords.
So it's kind of like a super powered password manager for businesses and organizations.
Exactly. It takes the hassle out of managing passwords and adds a layer of security that most individuals wouldn't be able to achieve on their own.
Yeah, but earlier we talked about how relying on password rotation alone might not be enough.
Right.
So does Delinea Secret Server do anything about that?
Absolutely. One of its key features is automated password rotation.
Okay.
It happens securely in the background, so you don't have to lift a finger.
That sounds convenient. Are there other noteworthy features of this system?
One is role-based access control, which means you can control who has access to what. This minimizes risk by limiting access to only those who absolutely need it.
Right.
Delinea Secret Server also offers secure remote access for today's world of hybrid and remote work.
Yeah, that's really important these days. It sounds like this system is designed to make password management more secure and less of a headache. Are there any other benefits worth mentioning?
Absolutely. For sensitive accounts like administrator accounts, Delinea Secret Server offers session monitoring and recording.
Okay.
This helps deter malicious activity and provides an audit trail if something does go wrong.
It's like having a security camera for your most sensitive systems.
Exactly. And don't forget compliance. Delinea Secret Server has built-in features to help organizations meet industry standards like GDPR, IGP, and PCI DSS.
So even if you're not a tech expert, you can appreciate the peace of mind that comes with this level of security.
Exactly. It takes a lot of the guesswork and complexity out of compliance.
All of this is really really interesting. But what are some password security best practices everyone should follow, even if they're not using a system like Delinea Secret Server?
So the sources are pretty clear on this.
Yeah.
The most important thing is to use strong, unique passwords for every single account.
Okay, no more password 123. But seriously, how do you come up with strong, unique passwords for so many different accounts?
That's where password managers really shine. They can generate those complex passwords for you, so you only need to remember one master password to unlock the vault.
Right, makes sense. What else is essential?
Regular security training is crucial. It's about educating people about threats like phishing scams and malware. The more you know about how these attacks work, the better equipped you are to avoid them.
Right, knowledge is power. Any other advice you want to share?
Proactive monitoring and auditing of your password policies is essential. Make sure people are following the rules, identify any weak spots, and adjust your policies as needed.
Right.
Cybersecurity is an ongoing process.
So it's about being vigilant and adapting to new threats as they emerge. What about those organizations that are still required to enforce regular password changes for compliance reasons?
You're right. Many industries and regulatory frameworks still mandate password rotation as part of their security standards. However, remember that security guidelines and regulations often lag behind the latest technological advancements.
Right.
It takes time for those standards to catch up.
That makes sense. So are we saying those organizations are kind of stuck in the past?
Not necessarily. It's about understanding the intent behind those regulations, which is to to minimize the risk of compromised credentials being used for extended periods. Those modern alternatives we discussed earlier, like MFA, can actually achieve that goal more effectively than traditional password rotation.
So it's about showing that you're achieving the desired security outcome, even if you're not following the letter of the law regarding specific password policies.
Precisely. If an organization can demonstrate they've implemented strong multi-factor authentication, the risk of compromised credentials is significantly reduced, even if passwords aren't being changed every 30 days. Some regulatory bodies are starting to recognize this shift and update their guidelines.
That's encouraging. So it's about finding a balance that works for your organization and industry.
Right. It often involves having open communication with auditors and regulators to explain your rationale and demonstrating the effectiveness of your chosen security measures.
Because at the end of the day, everyone has the same goal, right? To protect their digital assets and information.
Exactly. Speaking of Delinea Secret Server and its automated password rotation, I think it's worth looking at how that works in practice.
Okay.
Imagine you have a bunch of systems and applications, each with its own set of user accounts and passwords.
Right. I'm picturing sticky notes and a jumbled mess of login screens. Not a good look.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
That's where Delinea Secret Server comes in. It stored all those passwords securely in its encrypted vault and automatically rotates them on a regular basis.
Wait, so I don't have to manually change the passwords in each system?
Nope. Delinea Secret Server takes care of it all behind the scenes. You set the policies for how often the password should be changed, the complexity requirements, and even exclude specific accounts.
That's pretty slick, but how does it change the passwords without anyone knowing the old ones?
It uses something called an application programming interface or API.
Okay.
Which allows different software systems to talk to each other and exchange information.
So it's like a translator for different computer systems.
Exactly. Delinea Secret Server uses APIs to securely connect to the other systems where passwords need to be changed, and then uses those APIs to send commands to change the passwords based on the rules you set.
So it's like a robot program to change those passwords according to your instructions.
That's a great way to think about it. It happens automatically, so you don't have to worry about forgetting to change passwords or dealing with manual updates.
That must be a huge relief for IT administrators. It sounds like a pretty amazing tool, but are there any potential downsides to using automated password rotation?
Like any technology, there are always potential challenges to consider. For example, the systems you're trying to manage need to be compatible with the automation process. If a system doesn't have a well-documented or reliable API, it might be difficult to integrate with Delinea Secret Server for automated password rotation.
So it's not always a simple plug-and-play solution?
Well, not always.
Okay.
But Delinea Secret Server does support a wide range of systems and applications out of the box. They're also constantly adding more. It's also important to be aware of any potential ripple effects when changing a password.
What do you mean by ripple effect?
Well, let's say you have a password embedded in a script or configuration file. If that password changes automatically and those other systems don't update accordingly, things could break.
Oh, wow.
It's really important to plan carefully and test automated password rotation to ensure you're not disrupting other systems or processes.
It's like changing a key without telling everyone who needs to use that door.
Exactly. Good communication and collaboration between different teams are crucial when implementing automated password rotation.
Because IT is rarely a solo sport. It takes a village to keep those systems running smoothly. So we've covered the mechanics of automated password rotation, the benefits, and some things to keep in mind when using it. It sounds like a powerful tool, but it's important to approach it strategically.
I completely agree. It's not a perfect solution, but it can be a valuable asset when implemented correctly.
Before we wrap up this part of the discussion, there's one more concept from the sources I think we should explore. Privileged access management, or PAM.
Yes, PAM is definitely relevant to our conversation.
Okay, so what exactly is privileged access management, and why is it so important?
As the name suggests, it's all about managing access to accounts with elevated privileges within an organization. These are the accounts that could do a lot of damage if they fell into the wrong hands.
Right, like administrator accounts or anyone with access to sensitive systems, data or configurations.
Right.
So what does PAM involve?
One key principle of PAM is the principle of least privilege.
Okay.
It's about granting access only to those who absolutely need it. PAM systems often involve granular access controls, which define exactly what each user can see and do based on their role and responsibilities.
So it's about putting up virtual fences and making sure people stay in their designated areas.
That's a great way to think about it. Another important aspect is session monitoring and recording, just like we talked about with Delinea Secret Server.
Right, keeping an eye on those privileged activities to deter malicious behavior and create an audit trail in case something goes wrong. PAM also often involves multi-factor authentication for privileged accounts to add that extra layer of security.
Exactly. Some PAM systems even implement privileged session management, which isolates those privileged sessions from the user's regular desktop environment.
So even if the user's computer is infected with malware, the privileged session stays protected.
Right. So to summarize, PAM is a suite of tools and techniques designed to secure those crucial privileged accounts and protect sensitive data.
It sounds like something that would be particularly beneficial for larger organizations with complex IT infrastructures.
Absolutely. The more users and systems you have, the more crucial PAM becomes. However, even smaller organizations can benefit from implementing some basic PAM principles.
You mentioned there are many different PAM solutions available, from simple open source tools to enterprise grade platforms. It sounds like there's something for everyone, no matter their size or budget. And Delinea Secret Server even offers some PAM capabilities as part of its password management features.
Yes, it provides a single platform for managing passwords and privileged access, which is really, really convenient.
This conversation has been a fascinating look into the world of password management and how the cybersecurity landscape is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
I agree. We've learned a lot about password rotation, the potential of passwordless authentication, and the importance of privileged access management. But security isn't a one-time fix, right? It's an ongoing process of staying informed, adapting to new threats, and embracing new solutions as they emerge.
Exactly. We can have the strongest passwords and the most advanced security systems, but if someone makes a careless mistake, it can all be for nothing.
It's easy to get caught up in the technical details and forget that there's a human element to cybersecurity. Mm-hmm. Even the best technology can be undermined by human error.
That's exactly right. We can have all the latest bells and whistles when it comes to cybersecurity, but at the end of the day, human behavior can make or break our security efforts.
So how can we address this human element? It feels a little more nebulous than, say, implementing multi-factor authentication or choosing a password manager.
One crucial step is robust security awareness training.
Okay.
It's not just about telling people to use strong passwords and be careful what they click on. Mm-hmm. It's about empowering them to make smart decisions about their digital security.
So it's about providing the knowledge and tools they need to recognize and avoid threats.
Precisely. It's about education, not just warnings. For example, phishing scams are getting increasingly sophisticated.
Right.
Teaching people how to spot the subtle signs of a phishing email or a malicious link can go a long way in preventing them from falling victim.
What about those situations where someone accidentally downloads malware or exposes sensitive information? I mean,
Yeah.
it's easy to blame the individual, but maybe there are other factors at play.
Absolutely. Sometimes security breaches aren't the result of malicious intent, but rather a lack of understanding or awareness. Maybe someone didn't receive proper training on data handling procedures, or wasn't aware of the risks associated with using public Wi-Fi.
So it's about creating a culture of security where people feel comfortable asking questions, reporting suspicious activity, and speaking up if they see something that seems amiss.
Exactly. It's about fostering an environment where security is everyone's responsibility, not just the IT department's burden.
Right.
When everyone is on the same page and feels empowered to contribute, you create a much stronger security posture overall.
That makes a lot of sense. So it sounds like addressing this human element of cybersecurity involves a multifaceted approach. It's about providing proper training, creating clear policies and procedures, and fostering a culture where security is valued and everyone feels comfortable speaking up.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about creating a holistic security ecosystem that considers both the technical safeguards and the human factors.
Right.
And as we've been discussing throughout this deep dive, the cybersecurity landscape is constantly evolving.
Right.
The threats we face today will be different from the threats we face tomorrow.
Which means that our approach to cybersecurity needs to be adaptable and constantly evolving too.
Precisely. It's not a one and done deal. It's an ongoing process of learning, adapting, and refining our strategies.
This conversation has given me a lot to think about. I'm curious, what are some of the most pressing security concerns you're seeing in organizations today?
Well, one area that continues to be a major challenge is managing third-party risks.
Okay.
Organizations are increasingly reliant on external vendors and service providers, and this introduces a whole new layer of complexity to the security equation.
Because you're essentially trusting these third parties with your sensitive data and systems.
Exactly.
Right.
And then it's crucial to have robust security assessments and due diligence processes in place to ensure that your third-party vendors are meeting your security standards and protecting your data.
That makes a lot of sense. Are there any other significant challenges you're seeing?
Another growing concern is the rise of sophisticated social engineering attacks.
Yeah.
Hackers are getting better at manipulating people into giving up sensitive information or clicking on malicious links.
Right. We've all heard those stories about people falling victim to scams or being tricked into wiring money to fraudulent accounts.
Exactly. And these attacks often prey on human emotions like fear, urgency, or even kindness.
Right.
Education and awareness are key to combating these threats.
So it's not just about installing the latest antivirus software or setting up complex passwords. It's about equipping people with the knowledge and skills to recognize and avoid these increasingly sophisticated scams.
I couldn't agree more. It's about empowering people to be the first line of defense.
This has been an incredibly eye-opening discussion. It's clear that cybersecurity is about so much more than just technical solutions. It's a complex interplay of technology, human behavior, and organizational culture.
Absolutely, and it's an ongoing journey, not a destination.
Well said. And I think this deep dive has given our listeners a much deeper appreciation for the complexities and challenges of cybersecurity in today's digital world. Before we wrap up, I did want to touch on one more thing.
Sure. We talked about the importance of security awareness training, but are there any specific strategies or approaches that you found to be particularly effective? That's a great question. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, as the best approach will vary depending on the organization, the industry, and the specific threats you're facing.
Right.
But there are a few key principles that tend to be effective across the board.
I'd love to hear more about those principles.
First and foremost, it's essential to make the training engaging and relevant. Gone are the days of dry technical lectures or generic slideshow presentations.
Those definitely don't tend to hold people's attention.
Exactly. People learn best when they're actively involved and can see how the information applies to their daily work and lives.
So how can organizations make security awareness training more engaging? Are there any specific techniques or tools that work particularly well?
There are a lot of great options available these days. One approach is to use interactive simulations or gamified learning experiences. These can be really effective at capturing people's attention and helping them practice their skills in a safe environment.
That sounds a lot more interesting than just sitting through a lecture.
It definitely is. Another technique is to use storytelling or real-world examples to illustrate the impact of security breaches.
Because it's one thing to talk about the theoretical risks of, say, a phishing attack, but it's another thing entirely to hear about how a similar attack actually impacted a real organization or individual.
Exactly. Real-world stories can be incredibly powerful at driving home the point and making people realize that these threats are not just hypothetical. They're happening all the time.
So it's about making security awareness training more relatable and less abstract.
Precisely. Another key principle is to make the training bite-sized and easily digestible.
Because people are busy.
Right.
It's hard to carve out large chunks of time for training, especially when you're juggling multiple responsibilities.
Exactly. Instead of trying to cram everything into one long session, it's often more effective to break the training down into smaller modules that people can complete at their own pace.
That sounds much more manageable. Are there any other tips you would recommend?
Another best practice is to use a variety of training methods to cater to different learning styles. Some people learn best by reading, while others prefer watching videos or participating in interactive exercises.
It's about recognizing that everyone learns differently and providing options that meet those diverse needs.
Exactly, and finally, it's essential to make security awareness training an ongoing process, not just a one-time event.
Because the threat landscape is constantly evolving, as we've been discussing.
Right.
And people need to stay informed and update their skills accordingly.
Exactly. Regular refreshers and updates are crucial to ensure that security awareness remains top of mind.
This has been incredibly helpful. Thank you for sharing those valuable insights. I think a lot of organizations can benefit from those practical tips for making security awareness training more effective.
It's my pleasure. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I think it's worth emphasizing that cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. We all have a role to play in creating a more secure digital world, from individuals protecting their personal accounts to organizations safeguarding their critical systems and data.
That's a powerful message. We're all in this together.
We are indeed, and that collective effort is essential to staying ahead of the bad guys and creating a more resilient and secure digital landscape.
So how can individuals contribute to this collective effort? What are some practical steps that everyone can take to enhance their own security and be part of the solution?
There are many simple yet effective things that individuals can do to bolster their cybersecurity posture.
Okay.
One of the most fundamental steps is to enable multi-factor authentication on all accounts that offer it.
Right.
This adds an extra layer of protection that makes it significantly harder for attackers to gain access, even if they have your password.
Right. We talked about MFA earlier, and it's amazing how such a simple step can make such a big difference in your overall security.
Absolutely, it's one of the most impactful things you can do. Another crucial step is to use strong, unique passwords for each of your online accounts.
We touched on this earlier as well, and I know it can be a challenge to remember all those complex passwords.
It definitely can be. That's where password managers come in handy. They can generate and store strong, unique passwords for you, so you only have to remember one master password.
That's a game changer for sure. Are there any other must-do steps that you recommend?
Another essential tip is to be cautious about what you click on and download. Phishing scams are becoming increasingly sophisticated.
Right.
So it's crucial to be wary of suspicious emails, links, or attachments.
Those too good to be true offers are often just that, too good to be true.
Exactly, and that it's always a good idea to double check the sender's email address and hover over the links before clicking to make sure they're legitimate.
That's great advice. Any other tips you want to share?
Another important practice is to keep your software and devices up to date with the latest security patches. These updates often fix vulnerabilities that attackers could exploit.
Right.
So it's essential to install them as soon as possible.
So it's not just about convenience; it's about protecting yourself from potential security threats.
Precisely. And finally, be aware of your surroundings and practice good physical security as well.
What do you mean by physical security in a digital context?
Right. It's about being mindful of who might be watching you when you're entering passwords or handling sensitive information in public places. Be wary of shoulder surfers and be careful about leaving your devices unattended.
Those are all great practical tips that everyone can implement to enhance their own security.
Exactly. Cybersecurity is not just about complex technical solutions. It's about making smart choices and developing good digital habits.
Well, this deep dive has certainly provided our listeners with a wealth of information and insights to help them navigate the complex world of cybersecurity.
I've enjoyed exploring these topics with you. It's been a fantastic discussion.
Before we officially sign off, is there any parting advice or any final thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners?
Absolutely. I think the most important message to leave everyone with is this: never stop learning. The cybersecurity landscape is constantly evolving, and the threats we face today will be different from the threats we'll face tomorrow.
Great.
Stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged with the latest security developments.
Those are words to live by in today's digital world.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And the more we know about the threats out there, the better equipped we are to protect ourselves and those around us.
Well said. It's been a pleasure joining you for this deep dive.
The feeling is mutual. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this cybersecurity adventure. We hope you found it informative and empowering. Until next time, stay safe and stay secure.
Yeah.
It's been a fascinating journey exploring all these different facets of cybersecurity, from the evolution of password practices to the rise of sophisticated technologies like password managers. And Tam, it's clear that the field is constantly evolving.
And it's a reminder that security is not a static destination, but an ongoing process. We need to adapt our strategies and continually learn to stay ahead of emerging threats.
Speaking of adapting, one thing that struck me throughout our conversation is the importance of striking a balance between security measures and user experience.
That's a crucial point. It's easy to get caught up in implementing the most stringent security controls, but if those controls are too cumbersome or frustrating for users,
right,
they can actually backfire and undermine your security efforts.
Right. We talked about how complex password requirements can lead to people using weak passwords or writing them down on sticky notes. It's like that old saying, the most secure system is the one that nobody uses.
Exactly. So finding that sweet spot where security measures are robust but also user-friendly is key. It requires a thoughtful approach.
Yeah.
Right.
That considers both the technical aspects and the human element.
So how can organizations achieve that balance? Are there any best practices or guidelines to follow?
One key principle is to involve users in the design and implementation of security measures.
Okay.
This could involve conducting user surveys, holding focus groups, or simply having open communication channels to gather feedback and understand their pain points.
Because ultimately, the users are the ones who will be interacting with these security systems on a daily basis.
Exactly. Their input is invaluable in creating a secure environment that's also practical and easy to navigate. Another important aspect is to provide clear and concise communication about security policies and procedures.
Right. Nobody wants to wade through pages of technical jargon or dense legal documents.
Exactly.
Right.
Keep it simple, straightforward, and relevant to people's roles and responsibilities. And make sure the information is easily accessible, whether it's through online portals or FAQs or regular training sessions.
So it's about making security information readily available and easy to understand.
Precisely, and it's crucial to provide ongoing support and training to help users stay informed about evolving threats and best practices.
Because security awareness isn't a one-time event, right? It's a continuous process of learning and adaptation.
You got it. And don't underestimate the power of positive reinforcement and incentives.
That's an interesting idea. How can organizations incentivize good security behavior?
It could involve recognizing and rewarding employees who consistently follow security best practices or who actively contribute to a stronger security culture.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about creating a positive and supportive environment that encourages people to prioritize security. So we've talked about the importance of user experience and the need for organizations to strike a balance between security and usability.
Yes, and I think it's a testament to how the cybersecurity field has matured in recent years.
Oh,
Well, in the past, there was often a perception that security was solely the responsibility of the IT department, and that users were simply obstacles to be overcome.
Kind of a us versus them mentality.
Exactly, but fortunately, that mindset is shifting. More and more organizations are recognizing that security is a shared responsibility.
Right.
That requires collaboration and a holistic approach.
And that a positive user experience is not just a nice to have, but an essential element of an effective security strategy.
Precisely. It's about creating a security culture where everyone feels empowered to contribute and where security measures are seen as enablers, not hindrances.
I love that perspective. It's about making security an integral part of the organizational fabric, not just a separate siloed function.
Exactly, and that's when you start to see real progress and lasting change.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful and thought-provoking deep dive.
Yeah.
We've explored a wide range of topics from the nuts and bolts of password management to the broader cultural and behavioral aspects of cybersecurity.
It's been a pleasure diving into these topics with you. I always enjoy our conversations.
Likewise, and a huge thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey.
Wow.
We hope you've gained valuable insights and feel empowered to take charge of your own cybersecurity.
Remember, security is an ongoing process.
Right.
And it's something we need to be actively engaged in.
Right.
Stay curious, stay informed, and stay safe.
That's a perfect note to end on. Until next time, we'll see you on the deep dive.